'68 Buick LeSabre convertible. We're going to be installing airbags in this baby. Air ride suspension from AirSlamIt.com. We have our bracket already built. So, as you can see, all your solenoids are back here. You got your pumps. You got your air tank here. This bracket was custom built by us. We got a set of gauges. We need to run those gauges under the dash and lines back to this system. Here's the airbags, front and rear. Here's a controller that goes along with this kit. And then we'll have to sort out all of our fittings and hoses and wires and everything else. Here we go. Step 1, remove the wheels. That right there is the ever sought after fin brake drum. Look at the size of that baby. Those babies are extremely sought after. This is the front suspension, not the rear end. Jason is removing the cutter pin from the ball joint. We will be disconnecting the upper ball joint to drop the spindle down. The size of socket that I used was a medium large socket that comes in black. Also known as an 11/16 socket.
That thing looks like it's moving or going.
No. You have to disconnect the strut rod, sway bar, and the shocks, I believe. We got our ball joint popped off of there. Disconnected the strut rod and disconnected the sway bar. We have the jack under that sucker for some insurance. Then she released. Be careful.
To get the rear springs out, all I did was jack up the car, let the rear end down, and pretty much beat them out of there. Not really too hard. On this side, some idiot tried to heat up his spring and make a lowrider, and you can see how that turned out.
There's a proper way to do heated coils, but you don't just do them in one spot like that. Rear cups are slanted at an angle. This is an AirSlamIt kit, or most of one, that was purchased online. So these ones are slanted. The front ones are straight. Well, the front one goes right up here. This is where your little buckets go in place of the coil spring way up in there. These babies right through where your shock mount is. They have a piece of all thread that goes down into the bucket, and you snug it up, bolt her down. And then we'll be welding these plates for the airbag on the bottom control arm and figuring out position on the bags there. It's got 3 different positions to bolt the bottom of your bag to it so you can adjust kind of the angle of it. And then we will need to be drilling some holes in the buckets up here for the airline going in someplace.
Well, what we did was we removed the shocks and struts. We drilled a guy hole from the bottom up through the body. And then we took an 1.5" hole saw and cut an access hole from the top of the trunk here so that we can get our nuts and bolts and everything in there.
So we have the airbags totally compressed. Got a jack and jacked it up as high as it would go, just to kind of gauge where the tires will be in the wells.
After it's all said and done, we get the car on the ground. We'll take some measurements. We may have to pull it all apart and cut the cups down a little bit to get the car even lower.
So we had to move a few things. The transmission lines were in the way, so we got those zip tied back.
We'll have to rebend them just a little bit to keep them out of the way of the bags. We don't want them getting pinched. We're cutting back these strut pockets so that we can have clearance for our bag and our bag's not rubbing on any frame. Get everything lined up and mounted up and bolted back up, and then we'll be able to weld our bottom plate to the lower control arm. Well, got her all back together. Just need to tighten up my bolts and my nuts here, and then we'll set her on the ground and see how low she is and take some measurements and go from there.
I'm going in. I'm gonna go under this baby. Got the bottom plates on the lower control arms. Jason said everything's good to go. So I'm gonna go down there and tack these babies in place. We'll see what's going on. Since I'm gonna be welding on the lower control arm, you want your ground actually on the lower control arm. You don't want to put it someplace where it's going to transfer any heat through a bearing or a bolt or anything like that. You need to ground directly to what you're working on. We have our bags in position. And then once I tack weld these babies on the bottom plates, we will pull the bags out and finish welding the plates solid. There is the tack welds on the lower control arm and the plate that attaches to the airbag. Tacked in place. As you can tell here, the clearance on the bag is much better. Aaron spent time grinding and cutting these babies to make clearance in that pocket for the airbags. So when this baby's hopping up and down, nothing should be in the way. So with a calculated eyeball measurement and laser precision, I have determined that this bag needs to be pushed in just a little bit so that the plate can be welded in the exact same place and position as the other side. While laying on your back welding, it's best to weld with your mouth closed. Well, golly gee willikers, I think we've done a nice job here. Let me show you what we got. And there's that side tacked in place. And looks about like the other side. Same type of thing here. All kinds of clearance around the bag. We're going to install the wheels, set this baby on the ground. See how she looks.
All right, brethren, you ready to put this thing on the ground? Hey, I don't know if that's a good idea. I just drop it.
Drop it, drop it, drop it low.
Jason, I need the jack. Come on. Pretty low.
I think we probably should have dropped it like it was cold, because if you drop it like it's hot, your jack gets stuck underneath. How this jack is stuck, suspension ain't even bottomed out on this. She is low.
Well, we put in this, drill the hole, put in this pretty little grommet here. Keep it from rubbing on the steel. That'll split, and this will be our line coming out of the frame rail up into the floor for the gauges.
They are sure. All things are connected.
So we're just going to run that line down the frame?
Yes, sir.
Well, we had some problems on the other side with where we were going to run our initial line up through the frame rails here. So what we did is we actually ran a line from the bag up here that comes down and comes out the frame back here, and then this line will come out here and around the frame, so that you can put in your splits, your T's, without having them stuck inside the frame rail and not being able to access them whatsoever when you get them in there. So that's what we kind of struggled with on the other side, is figuring that out. But now that we've got it figured out, we'll knock this side out. So the kit that we got came with straight fittings. They look like these. They have the screw off cap. Screws them on there. I didn't like them. Didn't like them one bit, plus they were straight. So we got the MPT swivel fittings there. That way if there's any movement in the line, it can move a little bit. Why are you filming me?
Because you're finally doing work for a change.
I hate it when people film me.
Found evidence of Jason working.
We need to run the 1/4 inch line from this T here straight up the back of the engine and through the firewall for the gauges. Brake lines on this side. Tighten the castle nut and put a carter pin in.
All right, so Jason now has that white airline is hooked up, ran through the firewall, and now we can hook it into the gauges.
So those are front gauge.
Going for the test to see if it holds air pressure. We got air pressure. All right, put some air in the bag. Oh yeah. All right, here's a test run on the front airbags. We got pressure. Drop it like it's hot. All right, so we got about 2 inches of clearance. Jason's gonna go ahead and throw some air in there. Say we have like 3 inches.
Well, what do you think?
I hear air pumping into the tanks.
That's a good thing. Well, we ran into a little issue back there. Now we have to fix it. Because as funny as it sounds, not only does a drain valve drain air, but it also holds it in.
Just don't let your connections touch each other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think we got it figured out this time. We're gonna go ahead and fire it up and hope it doesn't catch on fire.
Check out that bad boy. Check out that bad boy.
Let me know when you want me to key in.
Go for it.
All right, here we go. Music to my ears.
Now we're going to pressure.
All right. Yeah, this is kind of cool, man. So right now we got about 120 pounds. Pretty good clearance.
Gonna take it around the block here for a test drive.
Just
Watch me that way. I'm gonna crank it this way and pull forward.
Gotta throw some air in the bags to get over this little concrete slump here. Don't rip off the exhaust.
He's a tail dragger.
So we did have to get a new radiator and fan. We won't tell you why, but I will give you a clue. Something might have happened, and we're a bit ashamed, so that's all you get. So we're right on the final stages of having this done. We do have a couple air leaks, so Jason's gonna go and spritz a little bit of water and find out where the leaks are, and we'll get them taken care of.
It's too hard to get this big bottle back there to squirt stuff out, making everything completely soaking wet, so this little tiny bottle helps get close to the fittings. Identified one for sure. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't more. So. 4th valve back. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one here. Leaking. You seal it with gas tape, it stays sealed. Getting her fixed, hopefully. This side wasn't leaking, but that I could tell anyways. But I'm gonna go ahead and redo it while I have it out just to make sure, because this is getting to be a pain in the butt. Well, we're finally done with this project. We sorted out most of the quick leaks and got it sorted out. We actually had to pull one bag out and the top of the bag fixed. And then built some quick bracketry. He's going to build some speaker boxes and stuff and covers to go all around this, I guess. So let him sort all that out. Boat away.